Hello everyone and welcome back to another album review, and in this video I'm going to review the Melodic Blue by Baby Keem. This is the highly anticipated debut full-length studio project by Baby Keem, who became quite popular in a very short period of time by just making a few mixtapes and singles over the past couple of years, and also being featured in many highly acclaimed hip-hop projects. And it's definitely one of those rappers that has managed in a very young age to become quite popular and being talked about. Now, I believe that one of the cases of why he got famous in such a short period of time, I think it has to do with the fact that he is the cousin of Kendrick Lamar, which is one of the biggest rappers in the past decade. He is a big figure in the scene. But I think that Baby Keem really manages to hold up on his own, despite his relation with Kendrick Lamar. I think that what he has accomplished on his own so far is pretty admirable. And before that point I wasn't that familiar with Baby Keem, so a few days ago I also ended up listening his second mixtape, Die For Your Bitch, which for me is a mixtape that I definitely can see the appeal. However, for me it was an album that became quickly boring, even if it's a really short project. For me, this project had lots of filler moments and tracks that I didn't care for, and I think that in some occasions it was pretty one-dimensional. So getting into the Melodic Blue, I feel that this album manages to present something sort of different at points, and this indeed, compared to his previous works, is a much larger album containing 16 tracks and being a bit less than an hour long. So this makes it another hip-hop project that might feel a bit bloated with material. And I think that there are tracks over here that do feel a bit of like filler, and I would prefer if they would not be in the track list. However, I didn't get bored with this album. I understand that it's a bit of a mess, and I've seen people saying this, and I know that some people are sort of disappointed with this album and that it didn't live up to the expectations, especially compared to what Baby Keem did in the past. However, for me, I would say that it's kind of the opposite. I much prefer this album compared to what I've heard before from Baby Keem. Despite being a mess, this is an album that didn't feel boring for me, and I basically sort of enjoyed the experience from start to finish. So even if I find this sort of an improvement compared to what Baby Keem has done in the past, it's still like very few tracks that I see myself coming back into. Like I don't see myself returning to this whole project ever again. But this is not necessarily a bad thing, because I still feel that this album had a few moments that managed to grab my attention. And at first I think that one of the most important things to talk about is the massively popular single Family Ties, which features Kendrick Lamar. And Kendrick Lamar, it has been very long time since we've seen him on a song, since we've seen him rap. It's been a while, and so many people were highly anticipating this moment. Now for me, the track Family Ties, I feel that it starts in an amazing way. I like the sample being put to it and the way it repeats itself. It has a very triumphant feel, and the beat when it comes in certainly feels like a solid banger. Now when it comes to the Baby Keem delivery, I like that in this album he constantly changes the delivery, even though I'm not a big fan of the vocals in many occasions, especially when it has this really heavy dose of autotune. However, I feel that Family Ties has its moments, but it's definitely not my favorite in terms of rapping and delivery. And then we have the beat switch, where we have the verse from Kendrick Lamar, and Kendrick Lamar has his usual sort of delivery, which is really powerful and impactful and in your face, rapping in a beat that it's sort of usual in his style. It is kinda dark and aggressive, however I would also say that it's somewhat simplistic. And that's the thing, even though I like the beats, they feel somewhat simplistic. I would like to see something a bit more to them. Apart from that, I think that it's a pretty okay song. But there is another track with Kendrick Lamar here, which in my opinion, this is a much more important one, and that is Range Brothers. Now, I know that there are mixed feelings with this song, and it's understandable, because there are moments in this track which are hard to take seriously. It feels like a parody, it feels really ironic, but we're gonna get into that. I understand why, for those reasons though, this track has managed to become this popular in a very short period of time, and being one of the standouts in the album, whether it's for the right or the wrong reasons. I personally believe that this is by far the greatest moment in this album. It is easily the most standout one, and yeah, I like everything about the song, even its stupid moments, even its silly deliveries. I prefer it more than Family Ties. I ended up returning to this song more than anything else in the album. Now, in my opinion, this track starts with a great instrumental. The beat is really sick, and then the Baby Keem delivery comes, which I'm like, what is he actually trying to do here? Because the vocals, the way he uses his voice, it's sort of annoying, it's sort of obnoxious, but it weirdly just seems kinda funny and it doesn't ruin the experience for me. There is also this moment where his vocals go into an extremely high pitch, and at this point I don't really know how to feel about this. In a quite short period of time though, we get a transition where it features some classical compositions and some sort of opera vocals in the sample that create a bit of an intriguing feel. The beat becomes much more messy and also much more banging, and I much more prefer the deliveries and the direction that this song takes with the vocals. We also have a Kendrick Lamar verse halfway towards the song, which is pretty solid, and the track seems to go smoothly, but then you have the final minute where it just feels like parody. You have Kendrick Lamar basically repeating the lines, let's get this shit, top of the morning, which really throws you off, but it also has this amazing beat switch and you don't really know how to feel about this. I don't know, it just feels really funny to me. Now I know that some people might feel sort of disappointed or others might try to just see that there is a sort of meaning behind all of this, like they do every single time with every single Kendrick Lamar verse, which I don't doubt it, there might be a bit of a deeper meaning behind it, but let's not lie to ourselves. At first listen, nobody took this seriously. I just like that this person just gives zero fucks. Like, even after this point, Baby Keem just repeats a few words in his own in a ridiculous fashion, and you have Kendrick Lamar where he just sounds extremely bored and uninterested, like he doesn't want to be here. And it makes it better for me that the beat and the melody that they decided to use for this portion is actually the most eerie and the darkest one out of this whole track. So yeah, it makes for a really bizarre choice of instrumental and wordplay. I don't really know how they came up with this, but I like it. I just can't help myself but really like this. Apart from that, I feel that this is the main track that really steals the show, and other than that, the rest of the track listing is just pretty average, and at some points I feel that it has some tracks that are a bit one-dimensional, but not to the extent of the mixtapes. We have much more tracks over here with beat switches and transitions, and we also have tracks like the final one, 16, which even if this track is not one of my favorites, I appreciate that it goes for a different direction, having a bit of a nice and beautiful synthwave approach to it. In terms of some other tracks, to put it in a few words, I think that Trademark USA is a nice starting point. It definitely has one of the more banger instrumentals to it. Pink Panties has to be one of my least favorite and most forgettable moments. Scapegoats feels like a sort of nice, soulful interlude. Tracks like Issues and Gorgeous are towards the middle. I didn't love them, but I didn't really find them to be some of the worst tracks in the album. South Africa has to be one of my favorites and most memorable when it comes to its chorus. I don't necessarily really like the deliveries, but I feel that it's definitely one of the most memorable moments. Lost Souls ended up becoming one of the most forgettable moments in the album in my opinion, and then at this point I feel that it has 3 tracks back to back which I really liked. Coca with Don Toliver is a really solid track. I like the instrumental, and I think that in its combination with the vocals this one actually kinda works. Family Ties with Kendrick Lamar, like I said, I feel that it's one of the better moments. And then Scars, I like the sort of military drums in the song and how it actually somewhat works with what Baby Keem does with his vocals. I think that this is a pretty okay song with what it does. Now the one track that I really don't get why it's one of the singles and why so many people seem to like it is Durag Activity with Travis Scott. Once again, this is another occasion where I can't get into Travis Scott. No matter how many times I've heard him in features, like it doesn't really work to me. This track was definitely the worst for me and the most underwhelming. Like the hook out of this just sounds so unengaging, it's just so boring, and the instrumental is definitely one of the most underwhelming ones in this whole project. I don't really get it why people like this. It feels sort of effortless. And other than that, I would say that another sort of highlight is the track Vent, which is one of the more aggressive moments in the album. So with that being said, I like that this album went into a few different directions, even if it was a bit of a mess at times. And apart from a few filler moments and tracks that I didn't really like, this was a compelling experience for the most part, and a hip hop album that I enjoyed. I'm gonna give the Melodic Blue a 6+ out of 10. What's your opinion on this album? Like it, dislike it, why, and what do you comment or review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.